Last time on MasterChef Australia.
Today's challenge is all about pasta.
The red team faced off in the first elimination challenge.
This is do or die.
And for Kevin, the MasterChef journey ended.
My MasterChef dream clearly over, but my food dream absolutely still alive.
Tonight, it's time for a change of pace.
This is your first masterclass in the MasterChef kitchen.
Gary and George give their tips for buying the catch of the day and serve up roasted yabby tails with a classic béarnaise sauce.
You don't have to add a huge amount of butter, but I'm gonna.
Gourmet baker Philippa Grogan stops by to take the mystery out of baking bread with a tasty walnut and fig loaf.
Are we gonna break some bread, Philippa?
Let's break some.
And George takes some inspiration from the humble lemon and creates a mouth-watering cheesecake.
Go on, what are you waiting for? Gary Megan will be here any second.
And amazingly, turn up when dessert's served.
Run with it, Carls.
Burning up in my heart like a flame, like a brighter shooting star in our souls. We all know our dreams make us who we are. We got today, so spin me round and show me the way back to burning up in my heart like a flame, like a brighter shooting star in our souls. We all know our dreams make us who we are.
How you going? Come on then. In you come.
Wow, look at all these fish. Oh my gosh. Oh my
Wow. Welcome to Masterclass. This is your first masterclass in the MasterChef kitchen, and it's special. It's the end of the week, and we've seen the first elimination in this competition.
Jules, you cooked your little heart out against Big Kev. And you beat him.
Yeah.
And you're here.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
I think I was doubting myself a little bit, that I could actually do it. And I'm just so glad that I did. And, you know, I'm still here and I never want to get that close to elimination again.
What we want you to do is get back on track, because one of you is going to be MasterChef 2012. And who's ready to learn something new?
Yes.
Good stuff, because this is what this year's masterclass is all about. It's about learning new techniques and skills that you can carry forward in the competition. So right now we're going to go through some tips and tricks about selecting and respecting seafood. You may have noticed there's a little bit of seafood in front of us and some really beautiful seafood. Now, first up, seafood is a difficult thing for most people to get their heads around. They don't like the smell, they don't know which fish shop to go into. There's lots of little tips and tricks that most people don't know. I always recommend that you find the busiest fish shop in the street, in the area, because there's a reason why they're busy, and plus the fact they're turning over stock. You want someone who you can go to for advice. Find out what's cheap, what's in season, and there are seasons for fish.
And also, a fish shop shouldn't smell fishy in a weird way. Generally, when fish smells fishy, it's old, OK? It should smell salty and sort of from the sea,
Yeah.
OK? And have certain sort of... Like, if you look at this snapper right here, it's got this lovely sort of shine to it, bulgy eyes.
And when you press it, the flesh springs back, really important. We've got some gorgeous little oysters from the Hastings River. These are Sydney rock oyster, Port Macquarie, tiny. Point of quality, if you're looking at oysters, make sure that, you know, they feel quite heavy for their size. That means often they're plump and they're full of seawater, which is good. And from Hervey Bay, we've got some lovely little scallops. Of course, if this is coming from Hervey Bay, really clean, almost tropical waters. And from Hervey Bay as well, we've got Moreton Bay bugs.
Yum.
You've got two types of prawns here, both from the same area, Clarence River, New South Wales. And these are little school prawns, and
They're
these
gorgeous.
are absolutely delicious. I think the smaller they are, the the cuter they are, the more tastier they are. So these literally a little bit of flour, fry them in oil, and then a little bit of salt and pepper, a tub of mayonnaise, and I'm in heaven. The lobster over here is from Long Reef in New South Wales, and a lot of flesh in the tail and lots of meat in those claws there. So you need to spend time and you need to respect that.
Without any further ado, let's get into some cooking. The dish we're cooking is roasted yabby tails with a crustacean béarnaise and pickled cucumber.
Okay, the yabbies. That should be our flag. You know, it should just be this little yabby there, you know, with big muscles. Yeah. These yabbies are from SA, but honestly, in most riverbanks around Australia, you can find yabbies. And who, as a kid, grew up going yabbying?
Yep.
Yeah? Trigan?
My grandfather, my nunnu and my dad and
Yeah.
my uncles, I remember we used to chuck nets with bits of meat in it. And I would sit there and just wait and just, you know, pull them up.
Why don't you come and pull some out for us?
Really?
What are you waiting for? Come on.
My hand?
Yeah.
Okay. They're a lot smaller than
Barreling
that,
Betty
mine.
or something.
Oh, come on. You'll be right. Put your hand in.
What? Come on.
Come on, you can do it.
Come on, Trigan.
Yeah!
Here, I'll put him in there.
You tricked me.
No, it's fantastic. Here, look. Look at how beautiful he is. And I hate to tell you, but I want to cook you because your claws look delicious.
Well done, Trigan. Good
Here,
job.
Trigan, put it back in with the net.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the correct way to kill them, again, ice slurry or in a freezer, slow their metabolism down, and then we split or spike them with a knife quickly, and then poach them. Pull them out, you cool them down, and then the next step is to peel them.
Funny you should say that. I've got some here.
The first thing we need to do is take the head off that tail there. So quite simple. We'll just slowly pull that off, and then we just give it a light press just to crack that shell there, and then slowly peel the shell off. Okay, now I've just pulled that little tail off at the end, and it's pulled out the poop chute. Right, the next step is to remove the claws. So I just snap these claws off. Okay, I just crack the shell gently. I want to pull that out without damaging it. There you
Beautiful.
go.
That's wonderful. But I've got a little challenge for you, a little competition. I need 2 volunteers, Sam and Mindy. Come on.
Right.
I want to see how many of those yabbies you can peel beautifully in 3 minutes. The person that wins gets to scoff the dish that we're going to cook next. Now, Alice, you're our official timer.
Okay,
Right,
cool.
go and sit down.
Okay.
3 minutes. Alice starts.
Now.
Come on.
Sam's just marmalised his. He put so much weight on when he squashed it. I'm just going to have a flat yabby. Come on, Sammy. Is George helping over that side?
No.
If that's what we're going to do.
We got 2 minutes to go, guys. Give me that one, give me that one, give me that
Right, is that time up now?
No, 1 minute to go, 1 minute to go.
That's it. Your time's up. Yeah! Now, if we look at the 2 boards, Mindy, 1 little claw and a mangled bit of yabby, and Sam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yabbies! A bit of fun.
Absolutely.
A bit of fun in the MasterChef kitchen, but we've got all of our beautiful yabbies peeled now, all these lovely little tails and claws and a whole lot of shells. So I'm going to create a dish with Georgie's help using these wonderful yabbies. So first step is this crustacean reduction, and that's what I'm going to use for the next stage, which is going to be crustacean béarnaise. All right, so olive oil in the pan, and then I won't use all of these shells. They're mostly the heads. And you want to keep a good amount of heat in there. Now, the idea at this point is to caramelise those shells. And when we talk about caramelisation, it's the colouring, the caramelisation of the sugars that are in that flesh or in those shells. Once the shells have been cooking for 3 minutes, put in a couple of shallots, which I've just sliced, half a carrot, diced, almost a whole head of garlic in there, about half a fennel bulb and half a celery stick, all right? Again, these vegetables, about 3 minutes. Right, vegetables are taking on a lovely colour, smells absolutely delicious. I reckon we should add some other bits and pieces. George, can you do me a favour?
Yep.
Core them and take the seeds out.
Yep.
I've got some aromats in here that I want to add to give it flavour. I've got some white peppercorns, about a teaspoon. Got some coriander seeds, about a tablespoon of those. And I've got a couple of star anise, OK? So pop those in. A little bit of tomato paste, about a tablespoon. A lot of flavour versus a very different flavour, which is the fresh tomatoes. All right, so actually we'll pop those in at this stage. And then I'm going to pop some alcohols. And I've got Noyer and Pernod. So the Noyer Prat is a vermouth, and Pernod is a aniseed liqueur. And a good splash, which means about 100 mils.
Yeah. Wow.
The reason you flame that is just to take off a little bit of alcohol, all right, and enhance the sweetness as it reduces down. And again, the Pernod. But what I don't want is everything to start burning inside. All right, so you can put that out pretty quickly. So I've got some homemade fish stock, all right? There's about a litre there, OK? A little bit of thyme. Got a few little sprigs of chervil and a bit of coriander because I want to reinforce those coriander seeds that I put in. Different flavour, but this is a fresh flavour.
But this really is the exciting bit for me. I look at that and because there's so much care gone into it, if you put care in it and love right from the beginning, you're going to get love right at the end.
I'm going to simmer that for about 30 minutes. That's all it needs. And then I'm going to strain it and reduce it so it's a reduction. So the dish we're cooking is roasted yabby tails with a crustacean béarnaise and pickled cucumber. Right, this sauce, this stock has been on for about 30 minutes. It's reduced a little bit, it's jam-packed full of flavours, so now I just want to strain it so that I can reduce that to get this little reduction or essence. So we've got a chinois here. A chinois is sort of the classic, French term for a very fine strainer. And we use these a lot in the industry to make really fine, clear sauces. So what George is doing there is just tapping that. Now, there's a rule in the business, which is you tap a sauce and you pass a soup. What you don't want to do is start forcing the tomato through, forcing the carrot through, because you're going to cloud this, all right? So that just goes into a pot, goes onto a high gas, and then we reduce that by 2/3 to get our reduction, all right? Now, we're going to make a béarnaise. Who's made béarnaise, hollandaise, emulsion sauces? A few. So what I've got, 3 egg yolks. This is the basis of béarnaise, hollandaise. 3 egg yolks. And I've made a reduction. And generally, that is equal proportions of white wine and vinegar and some aromatics, things like shallots that add sweetness. That reduction is very, very quick. If you put it in a wide-based pan, probably only take about 15 minutes, all right? You let it cool, and then you use this. It's going to do 2 things. It's going to lighten the mixture, because we're going to whisk this, but it's also going to add some acidity. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons. What I'm going to do is stick it over this pot of boiling water. I'm going to whisk, 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 whisk until it gets to a ribbon consistency. And the reason it will start to thicken is why? Because the eggs are cooking, all right? So the reason people have problems with béarnaise or hollandaise, they don't understand this. It's all about temperature. If it's getting too hot, this is why it scrambles. Now, if you're worried, just lift it up, take it away from the heat, and feel the bottom and go, wow, that's hot. And you can whisk it off the heat. And then when you touch the bottom and you go, I think it could be hotter, you put it back on. This is the principle of a double boiler. While I'm finishing this off, for this dish I need some pickled cucumber. So I've got some vinegar, some sugar, some aromats. If you could do that, that'd be fantastic.
Easy, easy. All right, so a couple of tablespoons of white caster sugar, a good vinegar. I'm using a champagne vinegar. Basically 50-50, yeah? Coriander seeds. We've got some black peppercorns and some fennel seeds there as well, all right? That goes onto the stove. And then the next step is to cut the cucumbers. I've got these lovely little Lebanese cucumbers. So I'm just removing the seed. I just think when I pickle something with the seed on, it can go a little bit too mushy. So we want a bit of crunch left in these cucumbers. Okay, and then maybe on an angle. Is that okay, Gary?
Yep.
And we just pop them in our bowl here. Our pickles come up to the boil, all right? So everything in there is sort of incorporated. There's some flavour in there. A little pinch of salt, okay? And then we just tip that over the top. Okay?
Lovely.
And just set them aside.
We've got our béarnaise half made now. It's whisked, it's ribbony, and it's ready to go. And of course, we've got this beautiful reduction that we made earlier. Only a couple of tablespoons. So just the butter is now going to go in a steady stream. And you don't have to add a huge amount of butter.
Aww.
But I'm gonna, right? We'll chuck some herbs in. I've got dill, tarragon, and chive. And I just want to taste that before I go any further. It's like, you know what it's like, George? It's like snuggling into a nice little soft doona.
Oh.
You know, there's rain outside. It's warm and cosy, and you just drift off. Should we put a bit more of this in?
Why not? Put me into a food coma.
Now all that remains is just to touch these little yabbies into a hot pan with a little something special. Butter.
So, as the butter's melting, I throw in the yabby tails. All right, and our thyme sprig's going, all right? The thyme's there to flavour and enhance. You're not going to put that on the plate. All I'm looking for, basically, is the redness of the flesh to pop out. You'll see it's starting to brighten up. And then that's done. We just tip that onto some paper there, some absorbent paper.
That looks so good.
And they're ready to go.
So good. All right. I'm going to put a dollop of this sauce, and then all I want to do is arrange those little yabbies around that sauce.
I think it's really nice to stand them up and position some of these claws in.
So I'm just putting on some little battens of this pickled cucumber, and then a couple of the baby herbs. Got some little slices of radish. So there it is, roasted yabbies with a crustacean béarnaise and pickled cucumber. Sam, you're the lucky fella that won the yabby peeling contest against Mindy. So I think you should pick someone.
Mindy.
Mindy? Oh, that's nice. Come on, up you come. Now, you can have that one.
Yeah.
You too. George, you can get stuck in there if you want.
Wow, that yabby is sweet.
Tell us what you taste. What do you like about it?
First and foremost, the beautiful sweetness that comes through from the tails of those yabbies is beautiful. And so it's a beautiful combination. That cucumber just brings a freshness. Yeah, it dances on your tongue.
Good stuff. Mindy?
Yeah, the sauce has got this beautiful warmth to it. It just actually coats your mouth and it's just warm. It just feels beautiful.
All right, done. Cleaned up. Beautiful. That was a good start to masterclass, huh? Here in the MasterChef kitchen. I'm pleased with that. It was a great dish. So here are my 3 top techniques to take away from that masterclass. Number 1, that bisque. Cutting the vegetables, chopping or crushing those shells so they're nice and small so you can colour it and get the flavour out. Number 2, controlling heat. That's what we learned from that double boiler. When to take it off, when to put it back on. And George, number 3?
Number 3 would definitely be when you pickle something, bring that pickling mixture up to the boil with all your aromats and then strain that liquid over whatever ingredients you want to pickle. You'll get maximum flavour. Creating an amazing dish is not just about the techniques that you know, it's about understanding combinations. Because the last thing you want is to create a dish and us judges taste it and go, doesn't really go. So combination, crucial. Walking into that pantry, you know you've only got a couple of minutes to pick ingredients to go with something. means you guys need to be on your toes at all times. Right, why don't we go in there and I'll show you how it's done. Come on, let's go. Alrighty. I love coming shopping and you must love it walking into this pantry. But I'm gonna ask you, next time you walk in here, breathe. Look around and think about combination of flavour. It's gonna be that little difference. It's gonna be that little something that's gonna be the difference between being in the middle of the pack or at the top. Only a couple of days ago, Ben, you battled it off against Dan Hong and his team. You did a great job. There was 2 core ingredients. There was honey and there was lemon. How do you think about that? Now, in my brain, I'm standing out there. If I was in your position, I'd be looking at it going lemon, honey, honey, honey prawns, honey, sweet corn, honey, and I start thinking, putting flavours together. What were you thinking when you were out there?
As soon as I saw the 2 ingredients, was whatever popped into my head, and it was actually recipes I'd seen with those ingredients in there, so I wasn't actually thinking that way. It took me a little while to actually start thinking like that, and that's what actually got me out of it, I think, in the end.
This simple thing, this lemon that we use in so many different cultures and cuisines is so versatile. You need to start thinking, well, if I add lemon to palm sugar, what's going to happen? It's a great combination, isn't it? Yeah. Sour, sweet, okay? So lemon, what am I going to cook with it today? I'm going to revisit Emma's cheesecake. This lemon's going to be the king inside that cheesecake, all right? And I'm going to serve that with a fresh fruit salad. So when I walk into this pantry, I look at what I need, I think about lemon cheesecake, and I think about how I can add things to it and what I'm going to add to it. I might take a dried fruit, and I love the look of these mulberries here. They look absolutely fantastic. And I love the look of these strawberries that have been dehydrated. We need some sugar, some fresh lychees here, so we'll take some of them. A mango, I need some mango. Some pomegranate, okay. I've also got some fresh raspberries here. I've got some edible flowers. Slowly this plate is looking, I can see it, I can smell it, I can taste it. It's coming together. Right guys, let's go and cook. Alrighty, I'm inspired by the humble lemon, and we're gonna do something very simple. A lemon and ricotta cheesecake with fruit salad. But I need a helper. Julia?
Yes. Yay!
I'm gonna run this part of the class like I would my own kitchen. I'm gonna tell you what to do, and you're gonna do it. I'm sure you'll be fine, Julia. You'll be absolutely brilliant. To get it going, I'm gonna get you to pop over here and you're gonna make the cheesecake mixture. That's gonna go in the tin that we're gonna bake in the oven, all right? I need 160 grams of ricotta. All right. What's the key to pastry making?
Precision.
Precision. Accuracy. Right, 160 gram goes in there. Right, next step, 200 grams of cream cheese.
Pop it in.
90 mils of cream. You love baking, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, it's your thing. Look how you smile when I say that.
I do.
I love that. That's fantastic. Why do you love baking?
It's so relaxing and it has this magic about it, and it's something I can do just at home in my own space.
Fantastic. 2 whole eggs, they go in. 25 grams of egg yolk. All of our recipes we weigh by the gram, which is all about precision. 70 grams of sugar. Okay, and a vanilla pod. If you don't have vanilla, you can use a vanilla paste of some description, all right? And then at that point, scrape, all right? Right, fantastic. Zest of lemon. So straight into the mixer, not wasting anything. You want to blend it enough that it's just going to go to a puree. Good girl, fantastic. Okay, next step is to pass it. I want to make sure there's no lumps whatsoever in it, okay? So I'm tapping that through, okay? because I don't want...
The lumps of the ricotta?
That's right.
Question, George.
Yes, mate.
You're putting that through the sieve and you've only just put the zest in. How does the lemon infuse into that if it's happening so quickly? Wouldn't it get caught in the sieve?
Andrew, with pulsing it, you're pushing all those volatile oils out of the zest. You know when you get an orange and you just squish it like that and you get that pop? That's the volatile oils popping up into the atmosphere and you can smell them, yeah? So it's infused enough. OK, so we've made the mixture. So give it a taste.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Simple, yeah?
It's really creamy, but it's not too rich. It's not overpoweringly sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm getting lemon and vanilla.
Easy.
It's lovely.
So we've got a simple spring-loaded tin here. We've lined it with greaseproof paper and we've got a basic biscuit on the bottom. We've made our biscuit from scratch. Flour, almond meal, butter, sugar, that's it. You know what? I've got friends that take a simple round Marie biscuit, they smash it up with butter, they pop it in and I love it. Mixture goes in. The next crucial bit is just a little tap. And we want to remove any air bubbles that are in there, OK? The next process is baking this cheesecake because we're going to have the oven set at 90 degrees. Oh. We bake it at a low temperature so it doesn't crack. This is what's so important about it. It goes in an oven, 90 degrees, roughly around 25 minutes. Right, Julia, pop it in the oven. What we want to do is reach a core temperature of 66 degrees and this cheesecake is cooked. And you do that by checking it with a thermometer, all right? Roughly, that takes about 20 to 25 minutes. And then we're going to take that out of the oven and chill it down in the fridge and leave it in there for as long as we can until it sets. There's a lot going on here, a humble cheesecake, but we're going to turn it into something really glamorous, spectacular and beautiful. It's in the fridge, it's cooling down, we're just about ready to cut it, and we've got everything ready to go here. Lots of different fruits. We also made a little plum sorbet as well. Plums, water, sugar, blend, and it's done. As simple as that, all right? 2 plates here. I'm going to plate up one, but I want someone else to plate up the other. Young Andrew?
Yes.
Go, Andrew.
Right, I'm going to promise I will not open my mouth. I will not dictate anything that you do. You will pull the cheesecake out. Please cut a beautiful slice out and you will plate it up how you want, all right? And you're artistic, yeah? You're a hairdresser.
Allegedly.
You need to be a little bit artistic, a little bit flamboyant. I think we've got a lot in common, you know what I mean? Cheesecake's in the fridge, off you go. OK, so that's set beautifully. Oh. Go for it, Andrew.
All right. Well, I figured the only way to make it not look contrived is to not be contrived.
You reckon?
Yeah.
OK. Let's leave that for a second. Look, I get your sort of free-flowing nature. It's all good and well. And I'll show you how you can still be free-flowing by plating up with a little bit of precision and a little bit of thought. So I'm just going to take this creme fraiche straight out of the packet. It's going to be like a little bit of a landing strip for those ingredients. And I want to cut a nice slice, remembering if I cut that out, what do I do with the rest of it in a restaurant, yeah? So a nice, beautiful slice. Cheesecake goes in the middle. I want to dress the plate now, OK? So I'm going to create this little sort of strip, this little garden of different fruits, and it's got to look beautiful, but it's also got to look what you sort of said, a little bit like it's just fallen off a tree, not contrived and...
And it'll arrive at the table still in the same place because of the landing strip.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
What else we got here? We've got some honeydew, all right, some of these dried strawberries, because we want a little bit of sweetness there, a little bit of chewiness, some peach, some orange, some raspberry. Okay, we've got some of this young coconut, which I'll just roughly cut. It's a celebration now, yeah? We're really celebrating this stuff here. Got some lychee, and just pop that in beautifully. Pomegranates, and we'll just let them sort of drop, but with care. Fresh passion fruit. What do you like about what I've done so far, Andrew?
I like the way that it actually obviously looks like a fruit salad, but it says compact, but it's actually quite...
Pretty.
Yeah.
Right, we've got some lemon zest that we candied, and we hand pick some nice ones just to elevate this fruit salad. Fennel fronds. Got little violets in here as well. And finally, some plum sorbet. Now, I rub the bottom of the spoon so it comes off easy, yeah? So I'll warm it up. Cheesecake, fruit salad.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Right, Julia, Kylie, step up. What do you reckon?
It looks like the Garden of Eden. It's beautiful. I love it. Let's go, Jules. Tuck in.
I love the crunch of a good cheesecake base.
Go on, what are you waiting for? Gary Megan will be here any second and he'll...
And amazingly, I turn up when dessert's served. Where's the spoons?
It's not claggy, it's not heavy in my mouth. It's not overly sweet. It's just beautiful.
It's a bit different to your normal classic cheesecake.
You know what I like? I like the contrast between the creaminess of the cheesecake and the plum sorbet. The plum sorbet is really beautiful.
Kylie?
Yeah, I love it. Same with the sorbet. I just think that the cheesecake's so beautiful and rich, but then it's broken down with the sorbet, so you can just keep going back for more and more and more. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I could eat a whole cake.
Julia, Kylie, you can go back.
Thank you.
My 3 top techniques for making a lemon and ricotta cheesecake. Number 1, blend your mixture and make sure you pass it through a sieve. Number 2, temperature. Being able to control the way you cook it through different temperatures. And number 3, my final technique, plating up. Think about what you want to do and how you want to do it, okay?
I've got a question for you. Who loves bread? Yeah. Filippo, you obviously love bread. You've made a few good versions of that so far and a couple of challenges.
Absolutely love it. It goes with almost anything. Done properly, it's all you need to eat.
Today you're going to get a crash course from someone who has owned and operated one of this country's best bakeries for the last 18 years. And there's a beautiful little shop in Melbourne, and there's often a little queue outside because they're chasing hampers, mince pies, Christmas puddings, pan forte, you name it. And it's like that little shop of can't buy one thing, got to buy 10. Please welcome Philippa Grogan from Philippa's. Did I get all those details right, Philippa?
You did indeed,
Sort of.
thank you, yes.
You don't only do bread, you do lots of other stuff, but
Lots
you
of other
supply
things.
commercially too. So how many restaurants and cafes and bits and pieces do you supply?
In Melbourne, maybe 100, 150 cafes and maybe 100 stores that retail our products. So
And interstate too?
every state and the territory.
Now also you've got somebody in your business that is the baker. Who's that?
That would be my husband,
Okay.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes, and we worked together in London for a number of years, and so he's really taught me everything I know.
What makes bread special for you? Can you describe that?
It's really the flavour and the crunch of the crust and the difference between the crunch of the crust and the soft texture of the crumb. So there are quite a lot of things that come into play when you're looking and tasting bread.
Yeah. Who's salivating? I just realised I am. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Now, Philippa, obviously in the bakery you make lots of different types of bread.
Yes.
Now, what have you brought in for us today? What's this one?
That's a walnut and fig loaf with some wheatmeal flour in it.
First step, what do we need to talk
First
about?
step is we have got 400 grams of a white flour in this bowl. And then we've got 100 grams of a wheatmeal flour in this bowl. Then I'm adding some salt and I'm putting some dried yeast in this bowl.
So there's about 10 grams of salt And about 5 grams of yeast.
Exactly.
To 500...
500 grams of flour.
OK, cool.
So the next thing I'm going to add is the water, 335 mils. And I'm just going to use one hand. I'm just going to mix it together like this.
Why do you use your hand and not a machine?
Well, it's nicer using your hand, really.
Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it?
Okay. So that's it, really.
OK.
There we have our lovely dough. I'm going to just start the kneading process. It's a very fast process. It's just a matter of stretching out the gluten and doing that. Roll it up. And you only have to do it a few times, 3 to 6 times. This is kneading. Just pull it with one hand and push it with the other. Now we want to add our ingredients. Now this is just a matter of pressing it out again, like this, not too large. And this is the best way to incorporate these sorts of ingredients. So spread you nice. Now these are whole California walnuts, which have seemed to be the most consistent, the best quality that we can find. This is adding the figs, spreading them out evenly. And we tend to use lovely organic figs. These are really lovely moist figs. So now this is a matter of rolling it like a Swiss roll.
So what you're doing is sort of folding it in and pinching it with your thumbs and folding all that in.
Yeah. So the next step is to mix all of those ingredients through till all of the fruit is bursting out.
Gary?
Go, Mario.
Is that with every ingredient? Do you always put it into that stage, or do you sometimes put ingredients in at the dry stage?
We like to put them in at that stage. If you put things in at the dry stage, they might react too much with the yeast.
Yep.
At this point in time, because it's got the amount of yeast in it that we've put in it, we need to leave it to do a bulk proof for 1 hour. And we knock it back 3 times during that period, every 20 minutes. At the end of that period, we then shape it, and then we leave it to prove as it's shaped for another hour.
Just to break it down, when it proves, it expands.
So it's just a matter of either putting it into a bowl and leaving Glad wrap over the top of it, or what we like to do is to cover it with a Pyrex dome. So if we leave it like that, we'll notice it started to expand.
So this has been proving now for 1 hour.
It's been knocked back twice.
Twice,
I'm about
okay.
to knock it back for the 3rd time.
And what's the term knocking back? What does that mean?
It's pushing all of the air out. Every time you knock it back, you're developing the gluten structure in the dough, so it means that you're increasing the ability of the gluten to make it nice and light. And then that's ready to go. So then it's back to this process, pressing it out into a nice oblong again. And that's it, ready to go onto a board with some semolina on the top of it so that it doesn't stick. The next thing is to create a little prover for it.
Good stuff. Well, let's pop it in a bag. So what we're doing by putting it in a plastic bag, just creating its own little atmosphere in there, so it's nice and warm and cosy.
And then you just go and leave it somewhere warm. You don't touch it for an hour.
So this bread's been proving in this little atmosphere inside this bag for 1 hour. So it's done its thing, it's proved, it's grown.
So we just have to put some little cuts in it.
Okay. The reason for the cuts? Pretty or allows...
It's partly pretty, but it allows some of the air to escape too. Look at that.
Well, there you go, brilliant.
And when you look inside, it looks like what bread looks like when it's baked, doesn't it? Have a look at that.
Absolutely.
See?
So you've got
Isn't that amazing?
tiny little pockets of air.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, let's get this thing in the oven.
Okay. You should turn the oven on an hour before you're going to bake. You actually turn the oven on to 250. So it's a pretty high temperature.
So that you get that bottom heat. What we've done is put a pizza stone into the oven.
So I'm going to put semolina in on top of the stone. Just a quick sprinkle. Close the oven door to keep all the heat in. And then I'm going to carefully just roll this loaf. We want to be very gentle. We don't want to knock any air out of it. And I'm just going to quickly put it in there, close the door again, and then I've got ice.
Okay.
Now the ice is to put steam into the oven, because if we put steam into the oven, we get a lovely crust. And here we go.
There's actually a tray in there, just so you know. So all the ice just went onto that hot tray.
I'm going to turn it down to 200. That takes 30 minutes in total.
Brilliant. Can't wait. Well, I've got a feeling we've been waiting long enough. Bread's been in for 30 minutes and 5 minutes with that spoon stuck in the door to let that moisture out. So we should have a lovely crust. So you're going to get the bread out?
I'm going to get it out. Look at that.
Look at that. Beautiful.
That.
Well, Philippa, that smells absolutely beautiful.
Well, that is the perfect walnut and fig loaf.
I don't know about you guys, but I want to eat bread. So volunteers to eat bread? Yeah, Tregan and Filippo, the bread king. Before you get here, just do a detour. See, there's some cheese and butter in that room.
Come on, Flip, let's go, mate.
Grab some stuff. Chuck it down here. Are we going to break some bread, Philippa?
Let's break some.
That's amazing. It's beautiful.
What would you put with this bread? What do you love eating with bread?
I think cheeses go beautifully with breads that have fig and nuts in them. Otherwise, just a really good butter.
What's going on?
Fold it up.
No one invited me.
Butter, a little bit of salt. Tregan, go on then.
Just amazing. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. It's soft and, you know, textural with the figs and the walnuts. It's beautiful on its own.
It is, yeah.
Filippo?
Absolutely sensational. With the blue cheese, the figs, the walnuts, it's fantastic. It really is. I make a lot of bread and this is great.
All right, you two, sit down. I think that's enough bread. We've got to eat the rest. Sit down, sit down. So, Philippa, what are your 3 top techniques that these guys have to take away with them?
3 top techniques for baking good bread. That kneading technique that I showed you, you push that dough out to stretch the gluten, and then you roll it up. Number 2 is proving. So when you prove it, you really want it to double in size. Number 3 is when you put it into the oven, you put it into a very hot oven heated for 1 hour to 250, preferably on a stone, and you then turn the temperature down to 200.
It's good stuff. Taking it all on board, written it down. But then, of course, we've got to thank Philippa Grogan. Thank you so much for coming up from Philippa's.
Thank you.
I think that was a pretty good masterclass. First one in the MasterChef kitchen. Happy?
Yeah.
Learn a ton of stuff.
Yes.
So, I think it's time maybe we just celebrate our first masterclass in the MasterChef kitchen. Come up here, grab some food. Right, guys, attention. A little raise your glasses. This is to the week that's coming. Tumultuous, stressful, busy, incredible. The MasterChef kitchen, another week.
Next time on MasterChef Australia.
Welcome to a brand new week in the MasterChef kitchen.
First up, a mystery box challenge reveals the ingredients for creating a cracker dish.
Really?
I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it.
Then,
your challenge is to create the perfect sandwich.
the masterclass on baking bread is put to the test.
I'm smashing this one.
Make one of the 3 least impressive sandwiches, you'll find yourself in a pressure test.
For the most inventive dish, a shot at immunity.
Is this the perfect sandwich?
I believe so. My mind is clear and I know that everyone that eats it loves it.